welcome to my channel, Things GarageBand. I'm Jeremy Haas. Today I'm going to take you through GarageBand for your Mac and show you guys how it works. Like I want to just show you how to start off a new project, how some of the settings work, loops, your MIDI instruments, how to play your MIDI instruments if you don't have an external keyboard, how to use like your on-screen keyboard or you use your computer's keyboard to play all your instruments, MIDI that is, and also show you how to hook up an external keyboard or a MIDI controller also. And then, yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys know all the stuff you can do with GarageBand. Your editor window, all your plugins, audio tracks, guitar, bass. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Yeah. All right, guys, if you guys want to follow along, I've got GarageBand open here, and we're going to start with new project, okay? There is recents here, so if you have recorded or if you've already done some projects, you'll have it under recents here. They'll all be here, okay? And but we're going to start with new project, and everything I'm doing is a left click on my mouse, and I'll tell you if I'm right clicking on the mouse, okay? So under empty project, if this window isn't here, just click on this little arrow, and it'll bring down this window, okay? So tempo is how fast the song is. And it defaults with 120, but you can turn it up or down by left clicking and holding the fast. If you want to move it up quickly, you can left click, hold down your mouse, pull it up or down, and move it real fast to where you want it to. Or you can just do it click by click. One at a time. There, it takes a little bit longer. Or what I like to do is, if you don't know the exact number, like your tempo number, you can actually tap it in. So, or if you have an idea for a song, how fast it's going to be, and say it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, you can tap that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and it'll give you kind of an idea, ballpark. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It gives you, yeah. So anyways, I'm going to take this back, put it back up to default. Maybe we'll keep it at like 114. That's good. And next is your key signature. Is like you really want to know your key signature for loops reasons. So say you're recording audio, guitars, bass, vocals, whatever, with microphones, anything, or you're plugging straight in your audio interface with guitar, and you tune to a different tuning than just regular tuning, default tuning. Your loops are going to be they're going to be out of tune with you basically. And so you want to know your key signature song, so all your loops and MIDI instruments play at the right note. So they're not out of tune, basically. So the way I learned to go about getting a key signature, everyone does a little different. I was told that, like, and the way it works for me is that, like, usually the first note of your song and the last note of your song, sometimes like the beginning note of whatever the notes use the most. That's how I look at it, is usually your key signature, usually. So yeah, so you can use a tuner or your keyboard to find out like what note you use the most. Usually the beginning or end note and the end note of your songs are usually the key signature. It's just good practice to get that down. Time signature, so that's like 4/4 time, 3/4 time, 6/4 time, 5/4 time. So 4/4 times like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3/4 time is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A lot of jazz, metal will have 3/4 time, 5/4 time, that kind of stuff. But a lot of music is written in 4/4 time. Hip hop, dance, that kind of stuff's usually 4/4 time. So we're just gonna leave it default 4/4 time today. Input device, output device. This is very important. This is if you're using an audio interface like I am, you want to make sure that so you can plug your guitars and record your guitars and your microphones and vocals, that kind of stuff. You want to make sure it says your audio interface for input device. And if you're using your audio interface to use monitors and your headphones through, you want to make sure it says for your output device also. I'm doing a screen recording, so mine says something different for output device for this video, so it's a little different for me. But if you don't have an audio interface and you're just using the speakers and microphone in the back of your computer, make sure it says it for these two here. If that's what you're using. So say you have an iMac, make sure it says like default microphone or iMac microphone. I don't know exactly what it'll say, but or default speakers. House speakers, I don't know. So yeah, just that's a good idea. And all these things you can change. You can change all of this later on in your project. So it doesn't all have to be perfect right now. It's just good practice to get it close. Okay, so now we've got that. We're gonna hit choose. All right, these are your first 4 windows here. These are your basically MIDI and drummer are both MIDI tracks. They're just slightly different, okay? And mic or line and guitar or bass are both audio tracks. So MIDI is your MIDI and software instruments, so you can actually play the instruments, play the drum kits, play the piano, play the MIDI guitar, synthesizers, soundscapes, that kind of stuff with MIDI software instrument. This is where you plug in your external MIDI controller, MIDI keyboard, MIDI drum pad. With this, and I'll show you guys. I'll tell you guys how to do this in just a second. Drummer is like it's MIDI still, but it's like a live loops. It's like, so you can pick a genre and a certain style that you like, and then as it's playing, you can like move a little button, and it'll change the style up to more complex, or hit it softer, harder. You can take out the kick or the snare, add them in, hi-hat, change it to ride or crash or to toms as it's playing. So you kind of can fine tune it to give you, if you're having a hard time coming up with a drum beat, or even like if you're having writer's block, it will really help you. It can kind of dial you in, and then you can fine tune it by changing the drummer over to MIDI, and then you can take in and out, add like build-ups and rolls and stuff in with MIDI in your editor window. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in just a little while. Okay, so mic or line, I use this most often because I play guitars, bass, vocals, that kind of stuff. Record drums with it. So this if you have an audio interface, or you can you can use the back if you got the right connectors, you can go into the back of your computer. But I suggest getting an audio interface. And what happens is microline, you'll plug your guitar or bass into your amp or into your audio interface direct into there, or you can it's for microphones. So if you're recording vocals or acoustic or wind instruments or speaking, or you're recording an amp with a microphone, that's what you would use. Okay. Now, a line is also, like I just said, direct. You can direct go direct with the line from a mixer or from a keyboard. I think it's a keyboard or something like that. But I just know for audio, or like guitars, bass, or like a direct box where you split your signal. But guitar or bass is also line. Also, that's also going straight in your audio interface with your guitar or bass. But that's got it. This is, if you pick this, it optimizes it where it sets up like where you can just pick like a certain name, like a metal, some type of metal, like US metal, and it will set up your amp, and it dials it in for you, and your EQs and your compressor, all that, all your plugins are set up so it's ready to go, and all your levels are right, so it's at the right volume and everything. And same with bass. So that's what you pick. If you're just starting out in GarageBand with guitars and bass, that's a good idea to start with this. But after a while, you'll want to actually, I like to put in my own plugins and to do my own plugin chain. I like to bring in third-party plugins, different metal, rock, different bass, plugins. And so you could use, and you can set it up yourself here in your own levels and stuff. Okay. So that's kind of how how these windows work. So we're going to start off with MIDI, so I can just show you real quick. And we'll get back to MIDI instruments themselves, but right now I just want to show you how the settings work, how to get around GarageBand a little bit. We'll start with MIDI, okay? And then we'll come back to audio tracks and drummer in a little while. So left click there, create. Okay, so here we go. So you've got your controls up here, your different windows over here. This is your track, okay, and I'll explain all this a little bit more in just a second. I just want to run over this all, and you got your control window down here. You got your sound library here. So what I'll do is I'll start from left to right across this line here and kind of explain what all this is, and then we'll get down to track. And we'll get over to loops over here. We'll get over the sound, different MIDI instruments, and we'll get back and start and show you how to play all of them and how to access them. I'll go to settings. Actually, we'll do this first, and then we'll go to settings. And I'm just going to touch a couple things that are really important, and then we'll get back to actually recording and how that works, and how to record several tracks at once, how to record guitars, plugins, all kinds of stuff. How to use your keyboard's computer as a MIDI controller to play all your MIDI instruments if you don't have an external keyboard, that kind of stuff. Okay, so first off is your sound library. This left click on this right here, and it'll bring up your different MIDI instruments, your guitar, like amp sims and stuff like that. You left click down here, pull this over to the left, and it'll bring you to like drum kits, bass, and you know, this is what I mean by this. Let me grab this. So you got drum kits. These are different drum kits. These are acoustic drum kits here. These are like you know, actual wooden drum kits, different styles, different sounds, different models. So here's your more. This is your electric drum kit. So this is more for like hip hop, your low bass, you know, dance music, techno, that kind of stuff. That's the electric drums there, okay? And the little arrows are ones I haven't downloaded completely yet, so you can click on those and I'll download it, okay? And so guitar is like this is let me grab it. Let me see. Yep, guitar. Here we go. So this is your. I think this is so this guitar part is because we're on MIDI right now. We're not. This doesn't mean guitar like amp sims and stuff like that. This is a MIDI guitar. Okay, MIDI guitars. Yeah, as you can see here, and we'll get back to this just like we will the rest of the MIDI instruments. So, but when it's an audio track, your like amp sims and stuff will be over here also. Okay, and then your plugins are down here. I'll explain that later on. Okay, so you got your keyboards and you got your piano, all that stuff down here. Organs, world instruments, that kind of stuff, arpeggio, and we'll get to all that later. I just want to kind of go over what the sound library is. Okay, gonna left click on here, get rid of that. This little question mark is like you click on that, and it's like a help window. Where'd it go? There it is, help window, quick help window. So wherever you have your pointer on, it will explain what it means. Wherever you have and it'll kind of like give you a brief explanation on what it is. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. So if you don't understand what something is, go ahead and use that. One other thing, you can also, it says it on there. Also, you can whatever if it doesn't explain it right, or enough, you can hit Command on your keyboard, and it should give you some more information on it. Okay, so. All right, next is your control. This is your control window down here. So this is like, say, let me bring this window back up and go grab. So say like pianos, or this is a guitar, but let's go to keyboards. Let me pick a keyboard. So these are like, you know, for you can turn up like trebles here. You can add chorus. To explain this a little easier. Let me get a regular piano, yeah, there we go. Grand piano. So you got your low, your tone, your highest low, you got compression, you got delay, ambience, and reverb. And like if it's an organ, it's gonna look like an organ, an actual organ. So let me grab that and show you what I mean by that. Check this out. See, it just looks like a real organ. You can change the distortion, the percussion part of it when it hits, the chorus, the vibrato, the wah 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 wah, that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. So, and they all have different controls. So that's your control window, and this is your EQ. I'll get to EQ later, okay? So that's what that is. So let me show you one more control with like drum kits. This is really cool. Like with drum kits, these are the acoustic drum kits, or if you're using electric, down here you can take out this kick or the snare, or turn up just a kick or just a snare or the hi-hat, that kind of stuff. So this is your control for each drum piece. And then you also got tone over here, and you got room, which is kind of like making it in a room, a different size room, kind of like a reverb, kind of a little bit. If that makes sense. Okay. So, and we'll get back to the rest of this. So now we're done with that. Let's go over to this. You can either hit E on your keyboard, or hit this left click on this little pencil here, and this is your editor window. So once we record stuff, we'll come back to this. And this is your piano roll, so you can you can punch in with you can hit Command on your keyboard. It'll make you a little pencil, and you can draw in where you want the MIDI instrument to play, and your notes, your velocity, how long, if you want chords or sustain. This is just punching it in. It takes a little bit longer, or you can fine tune stuff here. But this, I'll show you how to actually record and manually play your instruments, and then you can come down and fine tune it there if you're a little bit off. Okay, and use quantize, that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and do this. Don't need this right now. Man. Actually, I'll just do this. Okay. We don't need that. Let's go ahead and get rid of. I don't know why it's still there. There you go, gone. Okay, so so that's your editor window. We'll come back to that and hit you on your keyboard. Left click on the pencil, and I'll get rid of that. Next, we got these are rewind, fast forward. This will go one measure forward, or one measure back. Play, play, and when you hit stop, then this will take you all the way to the beginning of your project or your cycle. Okay, record, obviously record, and we'll get back to this, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. Cycle is like wherever you have this, you can left click and pull this wherever you want, and wherever you hit play, it will start at the beginning cycle, and when it gets to the end of cycle, it'll repeat. It'll keep repeating this over and over again. See, it'll just start playing right there. Now you can change the size of this by left clicking on the edge and pulling the edge longer. Same with this side, or you can left click on this to turn it off, or left click on this to turn it on or turn it off or on. Now if you want to start somewhere else and start a shorter one, you can left click, hold it down and pull it, and it'll start somewhere else, or left click on here and then start, yeah, just left click on top of wherever you want and just pull it, and it'll start a new cycle. So you don't have to, short if it's really long across your whole project. You don't have to go and shorten the whole thing. Okay, just makes things a little easier. Let me move this to the front, back to there. 4 measures. Okay, go ahead and turn that off. Okay, so this is your where your beats are, and beats bars. How many bars you got are in the song so far? We're on bar 6, beat 1, or almost beat 1, something like that. Tempo. Remember we were at tempo before. You can change it here also instead of just the front. So you can left click on it on your mouse, hold down your mouse, pull it up or down, and change the tempo here. Okay. Here is your key, your key, not your key signature, your time signature. Remember 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/4 time, 3/4 time. You change that here by left clicking on that. Okay. You got your key signature. So say now you know your key signature. You figured out what your key signature is. You can go and left click on this and change it to whatever your key signature is. So your loops will be in tune with your vocals and your guitars, bass, that kind of stuff. And then this is just so you can customize this window here. Okay. Next is your tuner. It's not lit up right now because you got to be on an audio track for it to work. Guitars, bass, vocals, anything with audio, it will light up and you can tune stuff with it. It's a tuning fork. So next is count in. This is say let me go ahead and put on my headphones so I can hear this. Okay, so I hit play again. You can hear it's been counting off. So count in is wherever you start recording. So say I have cycle on. I hit play, it's going to start from here. But if I hit record, it's going to count you in 2, 3, 4, and then start recording. Okay. So that's what counting is. Take that off. When you hit record, it's going to start right wherever your track header is, right here, or wherever recycle is. So if I hit record, it's going to start right there, even though I don't have an instrument going, so it's not recording right now. Take that off. Wherever you hit record, it's going to record from right there, and I'll show you what I mean when I have an instrument there. Okay, so and then you can turn your metronome off there, right there. Okay, and so you can turn it off, and then there's no click. Okay, so there we go. And it's just I like to record to a click because if you are using loops and if you want to quantize stuff later, it just really helps keep things organized. You don't have to play. It's not always wise to play completely to a click because then it sounds robotic. But you want to kind of have an idea where your song is because you can speed it up, slow it down, but it's good to know. I always learn to play to a click. It's a good idea, just so your drummer knows what's going on later on, especially if you're doing track at a time. It's instead of like the whole band. It's just nice to do it that way. Okay, so that's your metronome and your count in. So this is your master volume. This is very important. This is very important that what I'm trying to say. This is very important. You don't. I just said 3 times, I think, 4 times maybe. So I don't like to mess with the master volume. I like to keep it at 0 dBs, okay? Because if you don't, later on when you're mixing and mastering and stuff like that, you don't want this at a different level because it'll throw a lot of stuff off. I keep that there. If I want to turn down the whole project overall or turn it up, I use my audio interface and use the headphones, or if I'm using my speakers on my audio, like my monitor speakers, I'll turn up the line out there on my audio interface to turn up or down the whole project. And then on your track, you got track volume. You can turn up just and turn down individual tracks or mute them, that kind of stuff. We'll get back to that. So I always leave the master volume exactly where it is. Just a good practice. Okay, here are your notes. Okay, click here. You can type in your notes on what you're doing with your song. Put vocal or put lyrics in there if you want. That kind of stuff. It's helpful to remember what you just did, especially when you get a lot of projects going on. Okay, your loops. This is a lot of fun. Okay, so these are your loops. This is how all your loops work. I'll get back to your loops in just a second. I just want to explain that's what it is, and I'll show you how that works. But I just want to get over to the tracks real quick. So these are your tracks, and this is drums. Obviously, I had on drums last. Let's go do this. So if you want, this is your first track, and this is your this is left or right panning. So this you pan to the right, it's in your right ear. You pan to your left, it's in the left ear. Okay. This is your volume, track volume. I just told you that before. This is your input monitoring. I'll use this. I'll use this when I'm using audio tracks to hear my amp sims and my plugins and stuff like that. But you really don't need this for MIDI all the time unless you're using a bunch of plugins on it. I don't use it anyways. But except like I said, guitars. But here is so. Let me add. Well, if you have several tracks here, this helps solo out your tracks, and I'll show you what I mean later on a little bit more. But so if you have a bunch of tracks and you don't want to mute all of them just to hear one track, you can just click on headphones for that one track and it'll play just that one track without having to go and mute all the other ones. Okay, and then this is like mute basically. So if you want to mute certain tracks you don't want to play, and you just turn that on. Okay. So that's that, and I want to take you through a little bit of the settings and how to actually make more tracks and stuff real quick, and then we're going to get to loops, and we're going to get to the fun part in just a second, okay? This is kind of boring stuff, but it's good to know. Okay, here is this is you want to start another track, say you want to go for an audio track or another MIDI track or drummer track, left click here and you go back one of these windows, and we add another track in here, okay? Same audio, go over and hit audio, do that kind of thing, okay? So, go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so now you know that. So let me go ahead and get rid of this one. What I'm doing is I'm right-clicking to bring up this window. So might as well talk about this while I'm doing it. So say I want to get rid of one of these tracks. I'll first left-click on the track, and I'll light it up. And then I right-click, and I go down to, and this gives you, if you want a new audio track, a new software track, instead of going to that window, you can do it this way. If you want to rename the track, it's a good idea to name your tracks, okay? Because once you get a lot going, it might get confusing, especially if I do a lot of guitar tracks, left and right guitar tracks, lots, and bass and vocals. I mean, I'm talking about 50, 60, and so you really want to know what's what, and that's just a good practice to do that. Delete track, this is what I was after. So if say you want to delete a track, you can either hit command delete, or you can do like I said, left click, right click on here then, and go down to delete and left click on delete, and it'll get rid of that, okay? That's how you do that. You can right click on this track. Say you like this track, you like the settings, you like it panned this way, and you want everything the same on here, and all the plugins the same, everything you've got here and the volume, and you want the same exact track. You can right click on it and then bring it down to new track with duplicate settings, and that'll bring up the exact same copy of that track, okay, to the T. Okay, that's how that works, and that's really helpful, especially when you're doing multiple tracks of guitars and bass and vocals and stuff like that. Okay, so that's how those work. Real quick, when this gets past this screen, like say this is down here, way down here, or whatever, let me do this. This will be easier. So this will keep this moving. Okay, if you turn this off, it'll keep it in the same window, and that'll just keep going, and you'll lose your track header. So this is for that reason right there, to keep your track header on the same screen. Okay, and this is to shorten so you could see all your whole song is all the way to the left or all the way to the right. Will really, so you can see your wavelengths and stuff like that, and your MIDI notes a little bit easier. Okay, and I'm glad I saw this because I almost forgot to tell you guys about this. This is really important because this drove me nuts. I have some videos on this on my All Things GarageBand channel, but this drove me nuts. How do you make songs longer? How do you shorten songs? What's up? Anyways, right here, you see this see that little black line there, and that little arrow right there. You want to go over and make sure it looks like this. Left click and hold it down, and pull it to your right if you want to lengthen it. Okay, left click, hold it down, pull it to your right with your mouse held down. Okay, and then it'll lengthen your song. So, and then you grab this, do this, and it'll show you. So I just made it to 45 measure, or it's I don't know exactly. It looks like almost 46 measures, something close to that. right click or left click again, hold it down, pull it over, make it longer, or, and then to get that little line back, the way I do that is grab this, pull it back, and pull this back to the left side, and that pulls this little line back so you can see it again. Now, say I want to shorten the song. Say I got the song's only this long, and I'm like, well, I got all this room open up here. No, that's too long. I'll go over, left click on this, pull this bad boy over to say here. That's how that's. So this is the end of your song now, right here. And the way you get rid of that line is you just grab that, pull that again, and it shortens your song. Okay. Even though that might come back later, it's always going to be shortened there unless you move this part over here. Okay. So that's how you lengthen and shorten your songs. Pretty sick. So, and one other thing before we go on to loops and actually playing the instruments and recording, I want to go up to we're going to go up to GarageBand and go down to settings here, left click there. And this is very important to know. First off is if you're just starting GarageBand, this might be checked. Make sure you uncheck this. Just always have it unchecked. It's a good idea. You have third-party plugins, and if you want to see like your amp sims, you want to see like the amp itself and the bass amp, that kind of stuff, and see the plugins the right way, easy way to use them, you want to make sure this is unchecked. If you have it checked, it's just going to be a bunch of numbers. Unless you've been doing this a long time, it's really confusing that way. And it's just a good practice. I just leave this unchecked, okay? This is good to know, and I think I might just come back to this and show you exactly how this works. But this is for your MIDI, and for like cycle off. If this is turned off, this is talking about when it's turned off. MIDI merge is like, so say I'm recording this part of MIDI right here, 4 tracks. And then I want to record over it and actually add some more to that track with MIDI. I leave that on merge. You can keep adding to that track, that same track with your MIDI, and add more notes into it. Say I want low notes, octave, and high octaves, but I want to do them separate times, but in the same track. Keep that on merge. Now, if you want to, you record a track, but you want to record back over it and replace it, and not record to, you hit replace, okay? And then with cycle on, when you have cycle on, that's talking about this one. Now, so if this is good. This is so say you want it to record, it'll record this area, and it'll repeat, and it'll keep recording, and then this will merge. It'll keep repeating. You'll keep adding more stuff to that. So if you want to add a little bit at a time, a little bit more in at a time. Now, this is really helpful. Create tracks. If you have it on create tracks, when it records this and it flips over again, it will record a separate track. So it won't merge them, but it'll keep that last track for you. So you can keep doing tracks till you get it right. And then you can pick your track you want to use, your favorite track, okay? It's very helpful doing create tracks, okay? Very helpful. So, okay, so that explains that. These are just reset warnings. We're not going to go through all this. I just want to, these are really important, these 3 right here. Okay, audio MIDI. This is, remember I showed you guys how to make sure that you're using your audio interface or the back of your computer for your microphones. You want to make sure that this says your audio interface for your input-output device. Okay, remember mine says something different. Don't follow what this says. Or if you're using the back, say you have an iMac, or you're using your desktop's your desktop screen, you'll have that for your microphone and speakers if you're using that here. Okay, that's just really important to do that. Okay, so and next I'm just going to go to metronome. This is good to know. Now, when you get a lot of stuff going on, or if you're recording like loud amps and stuff like that, or drums, or you've got a lot of tracks going on, you might not be able to hear your volume. So you can turn up your metronome. I'm talking about your metronome volume. Turn it up here, and also tone will change the tone of it, so it might cut through it'll help. Different tones will help cut it through. You don't have to turn up your volume so high. It'll cut through a little bit better than other tone of your metronome. Okay, so. That's where I'll stop with that stuff. Okay, I think that'll work for now. So next, I'm going to show you guys loops real quick, and then we'll go to MIDI instruments. Okay, loops are a lot of fun too. Okay, so I think we got everything taken care of there. We'll come back to everything else you see here, and we're going to go over to loops. This is over on. Go ahead and left click on Loop Browser. Okay. So here are all your different loops, all your different style loops, everything. And we'll get to what the different colors mean in just a second. But this is how you narrow down what you're looking for, because there's a lot of loops here. You can left click here, pull this down. It just goes for days, man. I'm talking about days. And then or you can scroll up with your mouse here, okay? but there's a lot here, and it'll take you forever to get through here. So it's a good idea to narrow that stuff down. Like say you're looking for just drums, like acoustic drums, wooden drums. That would be go to all drums and go to kits, okay? And that'll just file down just acoustic drums. Okay. Now, so like say you're looking for just like electric drums, that'll be beats. And that's like for hip hop, dance, that kind of stuff, bass and clap and all that stuff. That's right there. Okay. So also, there's piano. There's all you can just file it down for whatever you're looking for. You know, you got everything. Brass here, woodwind, strings, and I'll narrow it down. And then also this even narrows it down even more, genre. So say you want just rock and blues, or if you're after jazz, or if you're after hip hop, dance, house, you can go in and narrow it down even more. And same with description. Say you're after something melodic, melodics right here. I'll bring out just a melodic sounding stuff, or cheerful, something cheerful, just cheerful stuff. And say cheerful stuff with piano and genre of jazz. That'll just bring up those things, and it really narrows it down for you. This is very helpful here. Okay, this is your scale. So if you know you're using a minor or major scale, you can do that there, or I just leave it at any. That'll help narrow some stuff down there. I could change. I think I might change it also to minor or major. But yeah, I use key signature for that. But okay, so you also can type it in too. I forgot. So next is these are we're just gonna go over your different the different colors here, what they mean. I don't have them all downloaded here, so again that arrow means I don't have it downloaded yet. I can download it by clicking on it. But anyways, blue is audio tracks. Blue audio tracks are baked in. They are what they are. That's what they're gonna sound like. You can't change the instrument, but MIDI you can. But you can slice it up and copy it and stuff. So let me just show you what I mean real quick. And let's grab, yeah. Oh, to preview it, just left click on it. And you can preview. So what I'm going to do is I'll say I like that. I'm going to grab that left click, hold it down, pull it over. Audio tracks can't go on MIDI tracks, but MIDI can go on audio. So make your own track with this right there. Okay. And then I'll hit play. And there it is. Okay. And so say you like that, and you want to add another track that same type of instrument, same sound of audio track, but you want a different key. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this, left click that, pull that over. Okay, and I'm gonna grab left click that. I'll show you what I'm doing in just a second. I think I'll be right. Let's just see what that does. And so we've got that's kind of how that works. And the 4 is 4 beats per measure. So that's or at least that's going to be 4 beats. It's 4/4 time. That's going to be 1. See these little things up here? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it says 4. If it's 8, it's gonna have this length. It's gonna be 2 measures long. Okay. So let me show you what I mean. See how it's even longer. So so let's do this. Okay, so that's how that works. That's how, and say we like what we got here, and we just want to like. So this is I'm going to get more into the settings here by doing this, but you can left click on your mouse and pull this down, and it'll light up the whole thing. And then you can right click, you can hit copy, and wherever your track header is, that's where it'll copy to whatever track's lit up. So I can right click now and hit paste, and it'll paste that whole thing there. So it's the same. It just copied this whole thing there, okay? And so say, oh, another thing is, let's say we don't like one of these things here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. Left click on there, and then right click when it's lit up, and we're gonna cut it, okay? So say I don't like. I just want to repeat say this part right here. Say I like this part. Say I just like this first measure here, but not that second measure. I can take the track header, put it there, right click on this, so, or you can right click or left click, and it'll light it up. Then right click, and then go down to split a playhead, or Command T is even faster, and it'll split that in half. Now I'm gonna get rid of this cut, and I'm light this up. I left clicked on that. I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna copy it. Now since the track header is there, I'm gonna right click again and paste. Now listen to it. Just an idea. It didn't work there, but you know, it's how you cut and paste and do stuff like that with all your track, any track, audio, MIDI, any of your tracks. Okay, so and also you can do this, and it'll just that's another way to kind of copy the same track over and over again. You can just left click on this, pull this, and it'll keep copying that same track over. And now check it out. Whoops. The original track it was. It will repeat the original track, not the one I just cut up. Okay, so that you actually. So if you want this one that I just cut up, you have to actually go and manually go left click, right click, copy, paste to keep doing that split track. But if you want, but check this out. Let me get rid of this. So I'm gonna say, remember how I cut that up? Now I can pull that and it'll bring it back. It'll finish the rest of the track back out right again. Watch this. Instead of how I was wrong. It's a little different here. My bad. So that's cool. I get it now. So that's what. So now that I cut it and messed with that, it copied it differently. Okay, that's a trip. Let's see what this does. Okay, that's cool. So let's do it this way. So so once you have messed with it, it does work that way. My bad, I was wrong. But once you so whatever it is, I guess. But I swear, a second ago we just did something different and acted differently. Might be me. So anyway, so say you've got one that's originally there. You can, and you like this, instead of right clicking on it, copying it, and pasting it, you can also just grab it and pull it, and it should do that. Okay, so here's your MIDI. Let's go find some other MIDI. Cool. Let's grab that one, pull that over to its own separate track, and we'll go ahead and play this real quick. Okay. Did you just see that? Trippy, huh? I was like, why is that playing at a different key signature? Check this out. That's the same I just pulled over. You hear where that started at? That's where your loops are at. See, look, I accidentally changed the key signature and didn't realize it. So now I got A major. It when you pull the loop over from whatever it is, it'll change that key signature. That's why the key signature is so important. I didn't realize I changed the key signature. I was like, wait, why is it playing at a different key? That's why. Okay, so if we turn this back, I don't know if, let me go back to C major, default. There. Wait. So that's C major. Now will it play this in C major? No, it just threw it off because I already had it baked on there. Watch this. Let me get rid of this. Cut this. I'm sure it should be, yeah, C major. So all your loops are always in C major over here, but you can pull them over in whatever key signature in. It changes the key signature. That's what's going on there. Okay, so those are your MIDIs, and so you can't take audio. Like I said, you can't drop audio on top of MIDI, but you can take MIDI and drop it on top of audio. Okay, so let me get rid of this. Delete. Left, right click, and then bring up delete. Okay, so now we got some MIDI. Let me go and grab a little bit more real quick. Okay, so we got MIDI. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that in the editor window, but I want to show you one other MIDI real quick before we go any farther. Now this is your drummer. This is your drummer MIDI. This is like and I'll explain drummer a little bit more. Drummer is this yellow one here, but let me go to this track just before I go any farther and show you what drummer is also. This is drummer also here, okay? It's also MIDI, but it's yellow, and it's like a drummer. It's like you can pick the genre. Like say I pick pop rock here. That's the genre, and let me hit play with just and that's your drum style. And I'll show you how this works in just a second. But what's cool is you can change. This is MIDI because you can change this over to MIDI. So say I like that drum beat, which would be the reason I'm showing that and not going there. I want to show you what I mean by this. You can grab this, pull this over here. Okay. So we'll bring up. So say let me get rid of this. Get rid of this, and I'll show you what I'm trying to get at here. Okay. Because it brings up this window here, and I'll show you how that works in just a second. But let me grab this again, and when you pull this over, it brings up that window also. That's why I wanted to show you what the different. Why I went back to that other way. It brings up this, and I'll show you how drummer works. But I just want to show you real quick. So you got drummer over here, and we're just gonna get rid of this window. We'll come back to that drummer because you can change up the loop as it's changing, okay? But I want to wait to go to that window or to talk about that in just a second because I want to finish what I'm doing with the loops here. Because I'll just jump all over the place if I don't do it this way. I'm already doing it kind of. So say we like the beat, okay? But we want a different drum kit, you know? Say we want a different drum kit. So we can go over here and we can go over and pick, say, should work this way, heavy. As it's playing. Okay. So you can change up that. Say you want a different, okay, and so yeah, okay, so that's how that works. You can change the drum kit up, even though. So that's what's cool about this yellow type of MIDI, okay, and also to show you that it's MIDI also. So say we like that drum piece and we don't want to change anything about it. We want to add it in, but we want to fine tune it like you can with MIDI in the editor window. MIDI, you can go down to editor window and do what I was showing you earlier. Take out pieces, add pieces in. I'll get back to that in a second. With this, if you want to do that, you can't do that with this until you change this to MIDI. And so what I'll do is say I like the Brooklyn, or you can I like the Brooklyn drum kit. I'll go and add in another drum kit here. Go back to MIDI. Go to MIDI, and then I'll go over and find the drum kit I like. And is that Brooklyn we went with? Okay, go over to drum kit, and we'll pick Brooklyn. And then what I'll do is, there we are. We got Brooklyn. Now what I'll do is I'll left click on this, light that up, right click, copy. Now go down to this track, go to track header, make sure it's right there. So it starts there, right click, and then paste. Now you've got it in MIDI. Now you can go to the editor window with this, and then you can go and edit this drum. These drums anywhere you want, okay? So it's all right there. That's that. So that's all the cool stuff. That's loops, and we're gonna go on to MIDI now, even though we're over in MIDI now, and instruments, and show you how the drummer works and all that. I just wanted to show you how loops work. Loops are a lot of fun. It can really help you come up with ideas for your songs and add stuff in and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of fun over here. Took me a while to warm up the loops, but I'm glad I did. You know, so. Okay, so we are done with loops now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start us a new project off just to clean up this. I don't want to delete each of these tracks. It takes forever to do that. It's a little bit slower. So we're going to start with a new. Okay, now we're going to start with MIDI. I want to show you guys how to use the different MIDI instruments and how to use it with an external, well, I'll tell you how to do an external keyboard, but how to use it with your on-screen keyboard. Because a lot of people don't have external keyboards, or I do up here. I just, basically how you plug in an external keyboard or MIDI controller, you take your MIDI controller, I can pull it down, I'm not going to, and then take a USB, whatever it takes, USB, USB-C, and plug it in your keyboard, plug it into the back of your computer, okay? And then you go ahead and hit create MIDI, and then it'll light up your MIDI controller, and then you should be able to play it, and you'll hear the MIDI instrument that's on this track. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, but so you can, if you don't, a lot of people don't have those, or if you're waiting for one, you order one, you want one. Till then, you can go up to window here, left click on there, go down to show musical typing. And that is using your keyboard to play this classic electric piano. I'm using my keyboard here. Pretty sick. So yeah, and that's so you can kind of play it and play in time and play it manually and hear the notes. It's a lot easier. You can also click on this button here, and it'll bring up and you can grab this and pull this over, and grab this and pull this up, and then you can play it. But this is a lot, and this is your octaves. It's a lot harder to play with a mouse though. You can't play chords, you can't that kind of stuff. Or you can get this same window. Let me click on that. You can go to window and hit show just keyboard, and it'll bring up this sync keyboard. Or you can click on these things back and forth in between your computer's keyboard to play. Okay, that's what we're going to use right now to do some recording with MIDI instruments and show you how all the MIDI works and how to get around that and to edit that stuff. Okay. So, and also real quick, this is your bends. These are your different modulations for the MIDI instrument right here. So these numbers here. Here's your sustain. So say sustain is tab. So say I'm playing a note, and then I allow my note. It'll hold that note. Sustain. That's what tab is right here. That's what sustain is. These are your octaves. Same thing as grabbing this. You can do it with your plus or minus. Okay, so plus or minus will change. Or I'm sorry, not plus or minus. That's plus or minus. I'm sorry, Z or X. Z or X will, the plus or minus is higher or lower. So Z or X will do it with your keyboard instead of your mouse right here. Okay. Okay, and then also this is your velocity, how hard your note hits or how soft it hits. You can change that by C or V. Okay. So that's how this little MIDI controller works for your computer's keyboard. So okay, so now we start off with our first MIDI track. This is the classic electric piano. That's the default instrument it always starts off with. But say you want to change that, you can come down here and change it here, or you can grab this, left click, pull this over, and then we can go and pick a whole different instrument. So or a drum kit or whatever. So let's go ahead and let's start with drums. I really enjoy drums. Let's go to actually acoustic drum kit first. And let's see what we want to use. Let's try East Bay out first, okay? Now make sure if this is way over, you're not going to hear a drum kit because there's only so many pieces, so you got to pull this over so it's on the right. If you pull it too far over, you're not going to hear anything either. It's really drums kind of around this area with octaves, just to let you know. That's why you don't hear it if it's way over here. Like, why is it not working? Let me do this. Oops. This gives you double bass, this part. Okay, so it's going to be hard to play in time, but I'm going to try anyways. A little bit off, but it's not perfect to just give you an idea. So that's, say cool. And remember over here, this is why I did this, is I want to show you in the settings. Remember, let's go over to merge. Okay, so if I have merge on, so I'm going to play over it with the cymbal and it'll merge it. Okay, so check this out. Let me go find the cymbals real quick. Oops. There. Hi-hat, that'll work. Okay, so that's it merging. And again, the count in, I really want to go over this one more time. If you got this, wherever you hit record, it's going to count you in with the count in. Say I have that off, it's just going to start recording right there. Wherever you want, okay? So let me take that out. Cool. Let me hit play again. So here's the hi-hats across the top here and the kick and snare are down here. Okay, turn that back on. Okay, so let me show you real quick what I mean about merge and replace. So here, now it's replaced. Check this out. And this is, sorry, my cycle's on, so that's different. My cycle off, now it's going to replace it, okay? Watch this, but I also have it merged on without the cycle. So watch this. No, see, it just replaces that track. It replaces wherever you record. It doesn't merge them together. So that's how that that works, okay? And as I was saying with the cycle on, now this is a trip. This is a trip right here. Let me show you this. Now let's turn this back to merge. That's with the cycle off. With the cycle on, which I just recorded this on, it was already on merge. Watch this, create track. This is cool. This is cool, especially with, for me, with guitar tracks, vocal tracks, audio tracks, basically, bass tracks, that kind of stuff, or whenever I'm just recording. Yeah, I like to turn this on, and well, this is, I'm sorry, that looks like that's for, I'm talking about MIDI, but I like to use this anyways when I'm recording audio tracks. Software instrument recording. Okay, well, basically the same thing. It's creating separate tracks, so it doesn't replace it. It keeps the same track, but it'll add a new one and new one until you, and so you can pick the best one out of all of them. So watch this. Turn the cycle on. There you go. Watch this. I don't like that. I want this. Okay, anyways. Okay, so check this out. You're going to have to see, now there's 4 tracks. You see 4? That's because there's 4 tracks there. So basically I can hit Command Z on there, and it'll take me back through the different takes. Say I like take 3 better, take 2 better, or take 1. And say, whoa, wait, no, maybe I like take 2 more. Then you can go, instead of, or you can go back, like Command Z, you can go with undo recording. But say I went too far. Say oops, I didn't like take 1, I like take 2. You can go back to redo cycle. So now it's on take 2 again. So you're checking this out. Say I like this one more. No, I like take 3. Oh, I already erased it. No, you didn't. Brings you back to take 3, okay? Or you can go the opposite way by hitting Command Z on your keyboard, or using this, like I just showed you, back to take 1, okay? That's how that works. And I'm going to take that off. I'm not using that right now. Okay. Okay, so pretty cool how so you can just, I like to do that when I'm playing guitars and stuff like that, so I can keep playing it instead of hitting stop record and stopping myself, because that can take a lot of time doing that, and make your project and just burn time. So I'll just like repeat a part and record it till I get the perfect take, and then I'll keep that take there. Okay, that's the reason that's there. Okay, so cool. So I showed you drums. Now we're gonna go on to, and we're kept at take 1, right? Okay, cool. So now we're gonna go to, actually I'm gonna go and add another track in here. We're gonna add another track, create track. Okay, so we're gonna go over to, so default piano. Let's go back to this real quick while we're on drums. Now, this is the control window I was talking about. I think I might have said this earlier and showed you this earlier, but you can take out, turn up drums, turn them off. Just in case I didn't, you can turn them up, turn off the kick, turn off the snare, turn it up, turn it down, each one. That's how that works. Same with your, say I got piano here, you can say I want, that's your bell, your drive, treble, bass, you know, tremolo. That's back and forth between your ears, chorus, and your reverb. So these are your controls for your, they'd be like on top of your synthesizer, your keyboard, or whatever. That's how that all works there, okay? So, and then you can just choose, and I'll ask you if you want to change your instrument. You can change your MIDI instrument whenever you want. So there. So that's, I'm not going to take you through each one, but that's kind of how you got arpeggio. I have a couple downloaded here. Check this out, arpeggio. They're like rhythmic. I can't say it right. Sick. Let me hit record. Okay, so that's what that is. Let me now take you. We're gonna do one more MIDI track. Let me show you one other thing real quick. Actually, 2 other things. Electric drum kit right here. So this is like for your hip hop, your dance. This has got your claps, your all that. Let me see what we got. Make sure this. You know, I got all that. Let's find one I know. 808 Flex. So you got all those cool sounds, right? So you can spend all day doing this. It's a lot of fun. I didn't hit record, but that's all right. We don't need to record that. Okay, so that's you got compact. You got all your different ones here. You check out. There's a lot. There's so many different beats. You know. Dub smash. Okay, cool. So one other thing I want to bring you to is your like different guitars. These are like your other MIDI instruments. So you can play your guitar, acoustic guitar, clean guitar. These are your controls, your gain. So say hard rock. Let me change this. So you can play your guitars like picking the strings basically. That's your gain, volume, your drive. Flanger. Yeah. So that's kind of how they all kind of work the same. They're all MIDI instruments, and you can edit these down this window here. But first, I'll take you to the editor window and show you how to edit a little bit more in just a second. But let's go ahead and get rid of. Actually, we'll hold on this. We're gonna solo this one. Okay, now I'm gonna take you to the drummer track and show you how this works a little bit. Okay, since we're on MIDI right now. Okay, so I can get rid of this window. Now we're gonna pick like a drum beat or like so that's we're gonna try retro rock. Okay, now let's hit play. Okay, I'm just gonna solo this. Check this out. So now that we got a beat, okay, let's try a different one. Pop rock. Okay, so now we got a genre kind of. Now as it's playing, I'll let it keep playing and show you how you can change up the beat presets here. As it's playing. So this is a loop you can change as it's playing. It's pretty cool. Okay, and then also what's really cool is I can make it more louder, I can make it more complex, more simple, quieter, softer. And then check this out. Okay, now I can go over and I can change the hi-hat to rides or crashes. Sometimes it's crashes or toms. And then you can also change just the toms to a different type of toms. Or the hi-hat to a different hi-hat beat. Okay, you can take out the kick, add the kick in, take out the snare, change the beat of the kick and the snare. 8/16, a swing beat, you can change the swing. And also the fills. Fills you can, more complex fills, longer fills by changing this. It'll do it more often, that kind of thing. You got your... I'm going to change the beat up a little bit. You got tambourine here. Okay, shaker. Swing. See, that's more swing. There we go. Okay, so you can do that all day long. It's a lot of fun. There's different genres, like you got hard rock here, change drummer. Oh, sorry, that's retro rock. There we go, hard rock. So let me it's kind of how that works there. So you get the idea how drummer works a little bit. Again, I showed you earlier. Say you don't like you like the beat, but you don't like. Let's go back to Logan. Let's see if I wait, wait, wait. Change it. Let's go back to it. Start this again. And just to let you know, the reason it's not playing this over and over again, arithmetic things like this, arpeggios, if you're doing a recycle, it won't start it over every time, like when it's playing. Anyways, it's just something to do with. But if you do have MIDI recorded here, like MIDI or other piano MIDI, but it's not arpeggio and stuff like that, it will repeat every time you play it, as you can see. I just want to let you know that's why it's not repeating this bottom one. Check this out. It'll keep doing that. See, it just happens to be anything that's rhythmic. It just does that with for some reason in GarageBand. So, anyways, so now we've got. So now again, I showed you how to do this. But say we don't like the drum kit, you can change the drum kit to something else. So, but you like that beat, you like that genre, that drummer. Yeah, that stops that when I'm trying to do a repeat. Anyways, what I can do is actually just grab this and loop this. Then I don't have to worry about it so much. There. Okay, so I showed you this already, and I also showed you also how to turn. You want to turn this into MIDI. We can do this. We can go and add another MIDI track. And what was that? That was on Smash. I like Smash. So we're going to go and pick us another MIDI track. We're going to go over to drums. And we're going to go down and pick Smash. And then I'm going to go over here, light this up, or grab this and do it this way. And right click. I'm going to copy. And then we're going to go down to this track, move the track header right there. I'm going to right click. And now it's in MIDI. Okay. Now... So, because what happens if you keep it in drummer, if you decide to go down, if you're over in drummer here and you got it all fine tuned, you got all this how you like it, but then you don't realize it's still turned on. You're doing another drummer track like over here, and you want and so I'll drop this to MIDI, okay, when I'm done with one of these regions, and then when I go to a next region and I get done with that, I'll drop that to MIDI and I'll do another one, because if you worked on these for so long, you go to another, and then you go to do another region, you don't realize it's still lit up, and you go and mess with this, you just change a track you've been working on forever, and that sucks. So make sure you just drop everything to MIDI and to it, say you're using drums, to a drum kit you like, and drop it to MIDI, okay? After each region, it's just smart to do, because that will happen. It's happened to me several times. But the reason I started talking about regions is so say you got this. Let me check this. So you got done with this drummer track, you like it, but now you want another drummer track, but a different style. So you just click on this, it'll get you, and then it'll be the same one as that last one, but now that's just lit up, you can change this to a different style. Now check this out. Let me just move that there so you can hear the change. See? So that's how these different, create, and then you can change it again. So. See? That's how that works, okay? So now that we're done with, now let me go ahead and since we got it down here, I like the track we did. Remember we took this track and just changed it to MIDI. So let's get rid of this track because we don't need the drummer track anymore. Okay, say we're keeping these two that we were working on here. Let me loop this. Okay, so we got these two here, we like these two. And we want to work on this, but I don't like this part. Okay, I like that one. Okay, I like it now, but usually sometimes I don't like the fills on it and stuff like that. So say you want to change the fills or something on it right there. That's what I want to change. Let me just shorten this so I know where I'm at. Go down here. We're going to go down here. Okay, and since I looped that, it's not lit up. Let's just do this real quick. Much simpler. Okay, there we go. So let's go down and say I don't like this ending, this little roll here. this part right yonder. There we go. Okay, so that's about right here. So you can see that's where that little roll goes. Sorry, I'm way down at the bottom there. Let's go ahead and you can left click. You can either do this. If I want to get rid of all of it, I just left click on my mouse, hold down that so it lights this whole thing up. And then I can right click and then hit cut and it gets rid of all of it for me, okay? And then I'm gonna hit command on my computer and I'm gonna add in some, is this kick? Yeah. Say I wanna build up here instead. Whoops. And whatever you pasted on there before, it will, the last one you did, and the velocity also, it'll keep it there. So you can just grab it, pull it over, shorten it. And then also velocity is over here for your either if it's piano, whatever instrument it is, or your kick or whatever, if it's drums, you can turn it up. Is it going to be a harder velocity now? Or I'll tap it. Hear that? Now let me turn it down. Oops, you won't be able to hear it at all. So you can change velocity. So I'll show you what I mean in just right here. I'm going to pull this over, I think right there. It's at the beginning of the, yeah. And then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do I don't know how this is going to sound. I don't know if I have it set up right, but let's here, check this out. Oh, those are all, my bad. Let me get rid of this, get rid of this. You can left click on it with the pencil twice and it'll get rid of it also. So what I'll do is, whatever you do, the velocity will stay the same. So now I want to do this one. I want to turn up the velocity on this. Whoops. A little bit more. And then I want to turn up the velocity all the way on this one. Okay. Same with this. Whoops, turn that down. And you'll see what I'm talking about, how velocity can really change up a song or change up your track. Okay, check this out. That's too short. I should have done it somewhere else, but yeah, you get the idea. Let me cut out this part. Right click on the thing, and it'll bring up there. Okay, now check out. You'll hear the velocity. That's what I was trying to show you. So let me add in. Turn those almost all the way down. Okay, so you can hear it build up. Okay, so that's your MIDI. Okay, so now I want to take you and we're going to do some audio. Okay, hit plus. Okay, so now if you're using a microphone to record like an amp with or acoustic or your vocals, you'll choose this. Okay, and then say you're going with your microphone and your input 1 on your audio interface, you'll make sure this says input 1. If you're going to input 2 on your audio interface, make sure it says input 2. Okay. And then so that's what I did to create these tracks here. And then we'll come back to guitar and bass in just a second, because that's just it's a different. It's setting up plugins for you and everything for you. With the Micro Line, I get to add in my own plugins, my own plugin chain, I should say. So let me yeah, we'll get back to how guitar and bass works with the plugins and stuff like that. So you can see down here, this is a guitar track. And I've got these pan to the left, pan to the right. What I did is I plugged these are each a direct track. So I did a left track. I got one to the left ear, another one to the left ear, another one to the right and to the right. So I quad tracked my guitar tracks. So I plugged my guitar into input 1 with my guitar, straight into it with guitar plug. And then you make sure your signal on your audio interface is turned up but not going in the red at all. And make sure it's lighting up green but not hitting that red. Just right after it hits the red when you're playing your guitar, turn it down so it's not hitting that. You don't want to cut your signal. If it goes in the red ever, you screw up your signal. You might as well record it all over again. Just that part. You don't want to clip your signal. It'll sound bad. It'll affect the plugins wrong, and it'll distort naturally, not a good distortion. Okay, so you want to set up your audio interface right that way. Okay, so make sure it doesn't ever hit that red. Just play my guitar and hit it till I turn it up. Out with one hand, I'll turn it up till it hits into the red, and I'll turn it down a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, and that's pretty good space, because GarageBand doesn't come with a good stock level meter or BU meter. All it's got for telling you if your signal's quiet or too hot. And that's not very helpful. It just shows you green and yellow. I mean, come on. Anyways, and I have actually a third-party plugin that's free that you can download called the MV Meter 2. I have a video showing you how to, and that'll show you a VU meter, like and show you if you're clipping your signal, if it's too hot, too quiet, so everything mixes right, basically. But we'll get to that later. Okay, so so what I did is I'm going to take off the plugins. The plugins are down here for your tracks. They're down here on your track, not master, because that's master plugins. That's all the tracks. It's the plugins for all the tracks, like EQs, compressors for the tracks. Now I've got each one of these. I keep bumping my camera. I'm sorry. Each one of these is a plugin that I customize, that I put on there myself. So I started out with this basically like this, and I took these off. I went, so you go over to these little arrows down here. These are your plugins. If you don't see this here, this little thing here, it's because this arrow, you got to click on this arrow here, okay? And so I go down here and I left click on those arrows and I go to no plugin. I get rid of those. And then I start like this. So say I'm doing guitars and we got guitars in this first track here. I'll go down and I'll pick up, say you want an amp sim for it. I'll go over and get amp sims, amp designer. And then you got amp sim right there, okay? And then you can go and you can choose clean, and this is our kind of preset cleans, different amps. It'll set you an amp, a cabinet that goes with it, and a microphone that they set up for you. Okay, so check it. See what I'm talking about? Matches kind of. Okay, so and then same with crunch and distortion. Distortion, it's got some really cool looking ones. That kind of stuff. So you got your microphone, you got your cabinet. Okay. So you can go about that way, or you can go down to customize, and you can pick your own kind of cabinet from here after you're already in the distortion and stuff like that. Or there's all kinds. There's everything in here. So you can just go to here to customize it yourself and to fine tune stuff. And then say I like this amp head, but I don't like the speaker. I want a different speaker cabinet. You can go here and find a different speaker cabinet, change that up. It'll change the sound even more. And then you can go and pick this is your mic placement, and you can change your mic to any mic. That's a SM57 right here. Good recording mic for amps. And you can change the placement of it if you want in the middle of the cone, over the edge, and farther away. And I'll show you how this all works with the tracks when I play them in just a second. I just kind of want to show you how it works. So you can change the head also, just the head, and keep that the way you want, or you can change them together and it'll change them to the okay. And then this is your output. This is your main output for that track. So say you got it too quiet of a signal, or if it's too loud, say you turn up the volume here, master volume and gain here, and it's way too loud, but that's the way the amp sounds good that way, and it's peaking your signal, you can turn it down here or turn it up here, okay? But usually I dial in these first before I touch any of this, the way I want my amp to sound. And then if it's too loud and it's like, and my signal's too hot and it's starting to distort naturally, not like good distortion, then I'll turn that down a little bit, okay? And I use an NV meter too to do that, like a VU meter. I don't just do it, you don't want to do it just by sight or hearing it. It doesn't always work that way. You can get a little bit with your hearing, but it might still be way too hot. You just don't know it. So you're mixing later, and then you record, and you get it all done. You go and play it in a car, or stereo, or somewhere else, and all of a sudden, it's the bass is distorting, or the drums sound too quiet or too loud, or the amps. It's supposed to be a clean amp, and it's distorting in like a gross way, like a fizz way. That's because you got your volumes, your output volume too high, too hot, your signal too hot, that kind of thing. Okay. So that's the amp sim. There's bass amp sims down here for bass guitar. There's pedal boards. So I got the amp sim there. You want to put your pedal board. You see how it lights up right before the amp sim. You can grab things that way, or you can go and add a new one in here behind it, or you can pull this, drag it down, and drop it down here, and just do it this way. Or say this is at the top. You can see it light up right above it. You can left click now, and I'm gonna go down to pedal board. You want to put your pedal board in front of your amp, always in front of your amp. And then you can grab your pedals, your overdrives, your choruses over here, your whammy bars are down here, your digital whammy octator. You got whammy bars right here, okay? You got delays, you got choruses, squash compressor, you got graphic EQ, you got all those in there. And so they line up, and then your guitar goes through these basically, and then into your amp. And I'll go through this later on. I have other videos showing that more in depth also. So basically, that's what I'm using here. Is I'm using amp sims, I'm using cabinets, but I'm using my own like third-party ones that I downloaded for free. And I have other videos showing you how to get these different amp sims. It's called the Emissary, the Ignite Emissary amp sim, and it's cabinets that go with it. It doesn't look like it, but it's a cabinet with the microphone. it's a different one. So it's just it's a little bit better for metal than the stock plugins. But so anyways, so once you've made that track there, now I'm that's basically what I've done here. But I've got and I added a noise gate to it. So if it's got a lot of noise, like a distortion usually has too much gain, it's like or it just sounds bad. So you put a noise gate on it to kind of quiet that down a little bit. And then a compressor to compress the signal. And this is all. So I got my direct signal when I recorded. I got my direct signal that for my. It's just like a clean signal from your guitar when you go straight into there. And that goes through your noise gate, your compressor, and then into my amp sim, and then the cabinet, and then an EQ, and then a limiter. And then at the end, I've got this is my free third party plugin that will show you if your signal is, if your signal is okay or not. Let me go. Standard. There we go. So check this out. So that's for this track right here. That's a healthy volume. That's because I fine-tuned all my plugins to make sure it doesn't go in the red here. You don't want it past -3. That's what this is right here. This is your peak right here, and there's where it's at all the time. So you don't want your plugins to go past 3 or just your signals or anything. So watch this. Let me turn off all these plugins. You can turn them off here. Now this is just a clean signal that I did before I added any plugins, just with my guitar through my audio interface. Let me refresh this. That's where my signal is at. You want your signal when recording guitars or bass to be around anywhere from -10 to -6. That's where you want it at. And then when you start adding plugins, you want to keep it all around -6. You don't want to go past -3 at all, ever, with a clean direct signal or any plugins. You don't want to go past -3. You want to leave yourself some headroom so you can mix at the end of when you're mixing all your guitars together. If you have it too close to digital 0, then you're going to naturally digitally distort it, and it's going to sound really bad. So make sure when you record your first dry signal that it's around -10 to -6, okay? And then when you start adding amp sims on there, plugins, and different plugins, you'll do one at a time and make sure it doesn't go past -6. Try not to, okay? It's okay if it goes a little bit past that. And then I got a limiter on, so I got it really close to -3. That's where I kind of want it. So without the limiter, it's gonna. This is more in-depth stuff. I'm just giving you a real quick run through. But I towards the end when I'm mixing, you'll want to throw a limiter on there. But till you're mixing and mastering everything, make sure you don't do too many add too many compressors and plugins and stuff like that. I just did this for the heck of it to show another video. But I'll explain mixing on another video, because there's a lot to do with mixing. That's several videos. Mixing is fun, but you got to do it. It's not always fun, but it's definitely. You get done and record everything, and then you start mixing. I just happen to start doing all the extra plugins here just to kind of show the video how to do a plugin chain. Okay, so but that's neither here or there. That's just more. But yeah, audio tracks, guitar tracks, cool. Let's get it. So so those are your plugins, and I'll have another video showing you how to set up a plugin chain and how to use a compressor. Everyone does it a little different. If I'm using a direct guitar, usually guitars distortion, you don't use a compressor on. They're already compressed enough. But it's just I use it on my signal to help it before it goes into the distortion and stuff. And I use a noise gate to help silence it. And then EQ will really fine tune your guitar sound. EQ is like the best way to actually just make your sound the best. You know, you can have a really crappy sounding guitar or recording of a guitar or an amp sim and really spice it up by using EQ. Take out the bass end, leave that for the bass guitar. You need to leave area for each. This is neither here or there. Anyways, so yeah, so you got your that was microline. So that was microline. Now this is guitar bass. Okay, check this out. And this is going in straight with guitar bass also, but this has already the presets, which I was just showing you earlier. So now it's got all the, look at it, now I'm on this. So let me get rid of the microline we were on. We're not on this one anymore. Like I just showed you this. That's ones I put on. So the microline that it was all empty before. I added all these to each of these. Okay. Now the one I just went on was guitar or bass. This is comes set up for you like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this clean signal here, and I'm gonna copy it by copying it, and then I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna copy it up here at paste. Now check this out. Check it out. Let me turn off all the plugins that it came with. These are already these are already set up for you. Now check up. I'm gonna play this. This is the original. So it sets you up with the sound already, and but I just turned off all the plugins. So this is the original dry signal with my guitar with nothing on it. Now this is the presets it comes with that it came with when you just go to guitar or bass, and it always defaults to Brit or clean, but you go and change stuff here. But check this out. You can go change down electric guitar or bass, go here, and here's your clean, crunch, distortion. Let's grab a distortion, Maelstrom, and then I'm going to take off one of these echoes. So see how it already lines up a bunch of different effects for you and or plugins. Check it out. Pretty good. So that's the already made plugins for you. This, what I just did on the right here, is ones that I downloaded free plugins for, and I added my own plugins to. So you can actually just fine tune your stuff the way you want, but it gets it pretty close. You can, but there's really good third party plugins you can pay for out there. One of them is called the Akatite Gojira X. I love Gojira, the band Gojira. Great amp sim. I love it. It's great amp sim. A lot of fun to play with, and I just got one of those the other day, and it's instead of using free third-party plugins or GarageBand's plugins, it's just a great plugin to use. I really enjoy that. But this is an older recording, so that's why I got older free MSRA Ignite plugin. I have a video showing you how to download the amp sims, the free MSRA amp Ignite plugin bundle. It comes with the amp head that I showed you earlier right here, and also the cabinets and speaker for that too, because you need to have that with the amp sim, or it'll just sound just fuzzy without it, you know. So yeah, so that's how guitar and bass works. Now, if I don't have a bass track going on here, but if I wanted to, there's it comes with preset basses also. So let me change this. Oops, no. Let me take that back. Okay, let me go back here. That's what I want to change. Did I mess up my other track? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Okay, so now I'm here. Let's go back. Take this back. We're gonna choose bass, clean bass, modern bass. Now that's a guitar track I recorded, or a bass amp. If that was a bass guitar, that would sound really good. The modern stack is pretty good. I like the modern stack. It's a little trebly. Mids are missing a little bit in it, but with the bass guitar, that would sound pretty good. So that's how you get around and find your bass things. And then you can go down to this. So now we're on bass. You can go down to bass amp on your plugins. And if you want to see any of your plugins, you just click on them here, okay? So there's the bass amp right there. So say I'm on here, I can just go and click on any. A second ago, we were just on guitars. So that's the stock plugins. So guitar, distortion guitar, I was on Maelstrom. If you want to see Maelstrom and fine tune, not here, but on the actual amp sim itself, left click on the amp sim, I'll bring up your, and that's what amp sim is using, and cabinet, and you can change up that. So let me hit play, and I'll change. Now I wanted to show you how to kind of change the amp head and microphone and show you the difference when you're, so I got this dry signal in here, but I'm using these amp sims here. I'm going to change up the cabinet and the amp and the microphone and the placement of the microphone to show you what you can get out of just changing up a couple things with a clean signal of a guitar signal. Okay. Change the cabinet. There we go. This is a Sennheiser 421. This is a SM57. I like this Sennheiser. Change up the position of the mic. There we go. Or you can change the head. Marshall looking like a Marshall. Pedal board. That's a whammy tech. It's pretty cool. A lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with this stuff, okay? So there's all kinds of cool plugins, different pedals there. But yeah, so those are a lot of the stock plugins. It's pretty. So like I said, if you don't know how to use plugins right yet, don't know how to get around it it's good to go with the guitar or bass when you're going straight in with your guitar into your audio interface. I usually what I do is I like to use a direct box. And I have another video showing you how to do this. And I'll record 2 tracks at once with one take. And I'll record my mic going into the mic or line with my guitar. I'll go with my guitar into the direct box straight into my guitar into the direct box, and then I'll split that signal. One signal goes to my amp, and then one signal goes to like input 2, say, and then I'll use my microphone to record my amp at the same time into signal 1 or input 1, and then so those are 2 different inputs, and I'll record those on 2 separate 1 track each, but at the same time. So then I'll get 2 tracks, and then I'll blend those 2, and I'll add that signals, that dry signal that you're just hearing underneath all these plugins. So I'll have an actual amp and my amp with a microphone capturing that, but then I'll have a dry, clean signal, so I can, if I need to, I can reamp it later, or I can add amp sim to that, or I can blend those 2, that kind of stuff. That's why I like to do that too. So it's always, for editing and stuff, it's always good to get a second when you're recording to get a clean direct signal. Also, you always use a direct box. It's just smart, good practice when recording guitars, electric guitars. You just, cause especially when you're editing your, if you're using, because it's good. I love amps, using amps, real amps, tube amps, and using a microphone. And it's the way it was always done. I love it doing it that way. They have pretty good amp sims these days, but still, it's not the same thing. But the only thing is when you'll see, like, when it looks different here because this is a clean signal, a DI signal. But if it's just guitar, it's going to be one big wave. The distortion's got this big wave. It's really hard to see the edit it. So especially if you're trying to line stuff up when you're editing things. So it's good to have a DI signal, a dry signal, also with it. That's the exact same take. So you can actually see where the picking is, so you can like really line stuff up later on. Use flex time, and I'll show you in another video what flex time is. It's even more in depth. It's how to line stuff up. It's kind of like quantize it in a way, different type. Stretching your audio or shortening it, MIDI, whatever. So so that's what guitar or MIDI or bass is. Okay, so I don't think I touched on everything here. But I got close. But one other thing I want to explain to you is, now this is like I was just talking about. Like, say you want to either record. Say you've got 2 microphones, and you got 2 inputs, and you want to record. Say you're recording 2 different, like a condenser and a microphone and a dynamic microphone on an amp on a speaker on it. Like I got this 6505 plus PV behind me. So you want both those, but you want it in one take. You want to record that, but you want them separate tracks so you can blend them. Well, you can't just obviously you only can record 1 track at a time. It's showing right here. Obviously, but there's a way to get around that. It just doesn't. You gotta go in settings to get this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this. So we need 2 tracks first to record this. So we're gonna go and use Microline. Okay. So say we're recording 2 different microphones, and we're recording the amp, or 2 different singers, and they're singing at the same time for some reason. I don't know why you do that, but or speaker, I don't know. But we'll just go with amp. Say you're recording an amp, a speaker, and you want a condenser, and this is a good reason you'll be doing this, a condenser and a dynamic microphone on it. You'll go and you'll keep this on input 1 for the first track, okay? Second track, let's put this at the bottom. Let's put this at the top. Okay, second track, we're gonna go down and we're gonna change the input 2. So that'll be your input 2. So that'll be your second microphone and audio interface. And do this and click this again. Okay, so you got these 2 tracks here, okay? But you need these to record at the same time. So let me light these up. Okay, so you need these to record at the same time. And you need, so this is, say this is your dynamic microphone, your condenser microphone right here, okay? So what you got to do to make sure they record at the same time, both those inputs, both microphones, is go up to, where is it? Track header. Configure track header over on track, okay? Or yeah, track header. And then once this window's up, you're gonna go over to record enable and click on that. Okay, there you go. Now you should be able to record both these at the same time by clicking on this button and this button, and they'll light up like that. Now when you record, it's gonna record both of those tracks at the same time. So now you got both microphones going, and then once that's recorded, you can go and left and right those mics. You can turn up the condenser, turn down the dynamic or opposite, do that kind of stuff, and you can blend those tracks, okay? It's pretty sick. And so that's how that works, okay? So, and say you want both those mics, you don't want on 2 separate tracks. Say you want to, let me show you this one more time. Say so we're going to start, say these are, we're going to X these out. We don't have, let me get rid of these. Delete. Okay, watch this. Say you want both inputs, both microphones on one track, and so you won't be able to blend them later, but you'll have to blend them from your audio interface or your mixer first. So you want to change this to track or input 1 and 2. Now it's going to record on this single track by itself. This single track, it's going to record both your inputs, both microphones, both guitars, whatever you have plugged into there. DI signal and a microphone, that kind of thing, onto this. But once you went to edit or to track and went down to configure header and turn this on, now this button will always be here, so you can click on both of those and record 2 tracks at once. You just gotta have 2 separate inputs for that to work, you know. So it's just not gonna work like there. You gotta have 1 track on input 1, 1 track on input 2, and then you can click on them. It'll light both of those up, and it'll record both those. Okay. So that's how you get around using audio tracks with guitar and bass and vocals anyways. Okay. So, and it also has presets for voice, for vocals. So you can pick a micro line and go in mic. Say we're doing we're on input 2 and 1, but say we're on just input 1 with microphone. You can go through and pick different and this will have, like, you know, it'll put plugins on your signal, your mic signal, so it's not just a dry signal, like reverbs, chorus, whatever, a fuzzy distortion. It'll have all these presets in here, or you can go in and add your own plugins to your microphone, you know, reverb, delay, that kind of stuff. Okay, that's how vocals work and the vocal tracks work at that. Okay, so I think I covered almost everything. There's still a lot more. The one last thing I want to get to is say this is the end of our song right here. I want to show you how to, say you want to fade out your song. Okay, is this how you do this? I gotta turn this off. I don't need this anymore. Get rid of this. Okay, so say we're done. We got our tracks. We got drums done, bass drum, vocals. Everything's done. We mix, master, or we're mixing and mastering. Mixing, I should say, not mastering it right now. That's the very end. We're mixing it, editing it still. So we want this to fade out and cut off. You know, so I like that ending like that. But say we just want it to get quieter and quieter, like we want the drums are playing, we don't want to all go gum gum gum, like that's what usually I do. But say we just want it to kind of, as it's playing, dun, 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 dun. So say we want it to fade out before it comes to this end, like towards the end here. So say we want it to fade out like right here at the end of the song. Say that's the end of the song. What you'll do is you'll go and first off, you want to, this just helps to shorten the song a little bit there. And then what you can do is you can go up to window here, and wait, no, it's not window. Where are we at here? Share. I can't. Oh, mix automation. Show automation. So we're going to show automation. Actually, we can either go show automation, or if we're doing just fade out, we can go to create volume fade out on main output, and it's going to drop you a main out master track that's all these tracks together, and it's fading it out for you. So that's why you want the end of the song pulled up here, so it knows that's the end, and it'll fade this out right starting right there. So check this out. Okay, get the idea. Say you want it to fade out sooner, you just pull this a little bit farther. You can do it that way, or you can click in your own things here, and you can do what you want with this. So that's what automations are. Say you want it to fade out a lot quicker than that, you just do this. That's kind of how automations work. It's more, automations are more in depth. You can go and wherever you click one of these little you'll do that, and you can let's do one more. So you can this is how automations work. So you can pull it, turn up, and this is for volume. This is for, you can do automations for pan left and right. You can do automations for plugins. I believe on GarageBand you can. So that's kind of how automations work. And you click on these again to get rid of these little dots. Okay, I'll leave it alone for you. Or you see you want to fade in a song, you just do this. Hey. Sorry. Stop. There's my cat. Freaked my cat out. Here we go. Watch this. Let me start from the front. You'll see it. You'll hear it fade in. Well, it's too quick, but you get the idea. Get the idea. Let's try this a little bit. Okay, so that's automations, and there's several different things you can do with automations. You can go in and these are all your different things you can do with automations. Your plugins, whatever plugins you got, you can bring in your. I can bring in like an octaver pedal at a certain, or the wah pedal at a certain area, or delays, and I can bring it back down on each track. And that's not just for master track. I'm talking about for your each track. Okay, pretty sick what you can do with it. But anyways. Guys, I hope it was helpful. So one other thing I want to do real quick is get rid of this track, or this automation now that we're done with it. So you're going to go to mix, and you're going to go and see the show automations on because you made that track. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and delete that last track, but you can also turn it off by going to show automations and clicking out turn off automations, so you can get back to your tracks. Okay, pretty sick though. There's a lot you can do with it. A lot of fun, guys. I'm Jeremy Hawes. I hope it was helpful. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. That leaves it wide open.